All right, we're live. And I knew it before anybody else did. That's amazing. That won't happen very often. But anyway, I am Brent Leary. This is the Small Biz Breakdown. We do this every week, Fridays, noon Eastern. I'm just especially excited because I got my new Rams hat in the mail. I always like breaking in a new Rams hat for a show I do. I don't know why. It doesn't really make the show any better, but it makes me feel better. So that's really all I'm worried about. Nah, I shouldn't say stuff like that, even if it's true. Anyway, let's see who's joining us today. We always go from left to right, or is that from west to east? I don't even know why I'm making these. Anyway, let's check out what's going on in Oregon with Leland. Hey, Leland from Oregon.
Hey, Brent, good to be here. And I guess you would say it's left to right, depending on just what direction you're facing.
I'm safer just going with the west to east, right?
Yeah. A little bit, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll try that right now. We're going to traverse. I don't know why I keep saying traverse. We're just going to go east. I wasn't going to say young man because, quite honestly, I'm not a young man anymore. Anyway, this guy is, though. He's from Gary, Indiana. He is Pierre D.
Good morning and hello.
How are things in DB? So how are things in Gary, Indiana?
Just fine. And since we're going from West Coast to East Coast, I-80, which starts in San Francisco, ends just out of New York. Traffic is fine through here, so you're moving right.
All right. Are people getting excited for the Michael Jackson movie that's getting ready to come out?
I think they are. I think people are we're still month off, actually month and almost not quite 2 months, but close to. So it's April 24th. It'll be my birthday. I got a couple of friends that are trying to get me to come down for that. So
nice.
So we're getting excited. We're all moonwalking, practicing, and getting our red leather jackets out, tested out, ready to go.
Out the mothballs.
And strong as our fight.
You know what? As much as I did like the Michael Jackson red jacket, I like the Eddie Murphy red. Remember when he did was it Raw or
who
knows? He had the whole red thing. Anyway, boy, we going way back in time. Let's keep moving eastward, and let's see if it's magical and mystical still in lovely Medina with the one and only Madam Mic Drop herself. There's way too many M's in this, so I'm glad her name is Ivana. Or Ivana.
Yes. So continuing off of I-80, it is sunny and warm in tropical Medina. We completed our lovely ice festival. I sent you guys a little video so that you could see how cute we are.
I love the way you said that. That just made me laugh. By the way, when you say it's warm in lovely Medina, what does that mean?
About, is it 49? 40 what?
Yeah.
49.
Wow. All right. That's not bad.
So, as you can see, I'm not bundled up. I am just like wearing regular clothes.
All righty. Well, we're glad to hear everything is still magical and mystical in Medina. So many M's. All right. Let's keep moving eastward to our nation's capital, where absolutely nothing goes on anytime there. But at least we know somebody who loves to smile through whatever happens there. That is Mr. Smile himself, Shashi Belamkonda. Hey, Shashi.
Hey, everyone. So good to see you all on this nice Friday morning from the nation's capital, where our airport is going to get renovated, which I fully support.
Did you say renamed or no? I'm just kidding.
Renovated.
Just kidding about that. Well, I'm glad. And thanks for keeping a smile on in DC, because Lord knows we need it. Moving on. A little commentary there, a little editorial. Moving on to our, it's not the nations, it's the worlds, or is it just the nations? He's already given me the stink eye because I think I messed it up. But all the way from New Jersey, where they do like people to come and vacate with them. That didn't sound right. Well, we'll still go with it. It is the one and only Ramon Ray.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Ramon Ray from from the vacation capital of the world.
When you come to the vacation capital of the world this time of year, what should you expect?
Oh, listen, we got everything. A few things, Brent. Thanks for asking, Brent. Just thanks for opening up the floor to me to share about this. Imagine coming through here. As Pierre said before, he's a student. You got 80 hits us. You got 280 hits us. You got 95. You got Garden State Parkway coming to the state. We got Denny's. Boutique restaurant launched last year. Pancakes, bacon, eggs. We got Denny's. You come through there, we have these structures. It's not kind of like Tesla. They have Tesla parking in them, but these big structures that have shops inside of them. In New Jersey, we call that malls. Probably they don't have it in Medina. They definitely don't have it in where Leland is. Got malls. And I'll just say two more things, Brent, and then we'll let the show go on. Two more things I can think about. Let me see what else. McDonald's, Golden Arches. We got that there, and that came out about 7 years ago. We got Golden Arches, McDonald's. What else can I say? Oh, the Gap. That's another thing. We got the Gap there as well. So that's when you come to New Jersey, Brent, it's an experience, man. It's kind of like AI met Cheerios mixed together, and there's New Jersey. Back to you, Brent.
Hey, I have to make a comment on this.
Please, Sashi.
New Jersey doesn't have Buc-ee's. And there's a sign in New Jersey that says, make a U-turn and go 585 miles for the nearest.
No, we have Wawa and we have Cracker Barrel.
Ramon.
Yes, ma'am.
With so much love and respect,
Please,
as someone has lived on the East Coast,
okay,
I have been to Cape May and the Jersey Shore.
Yes.
The Cape May Zoo, which is astonishing.
Ooh, lovely.
And lovely.
Yes.
I have been to the Taj Mahal.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I thought that anyway.
I was there when it opened.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, do not be dissing on Jersey. I have been lost on the Garden State Parkway. So I got to see so much loveliness of the Garden State.
It is a lovely place.
All our friends, if you're watching this early in the show, New Jersey is a lovely place. When Ramon says it, and actually not even New Jersey, my husband was just at LaGuardia. I have not been to LaGuardia in absolute years.
You can stop right there. LaGuardia in Queens, New York. I'm talking about.
I understand that. We're talking about New Jersey, but so.
I think
so many great renovations. Speaking of renovated airports, so much better. It used to look like a nasty, disgusting. Ugh.
I think it's Ivana's polite way of saying, Ramon, you chose the wrong things. You didn't choose Cape May and the beautiful.
I was waiting for him to get into the markets. They have markets there.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah,
Ramon is being humble, and I appreciate that. As we all know that he is.
Yes, Ivana.
He's got a certificate at the back on his wall saying he's humble.
He is humble. When you look in the encyclopedia and the dictionary, when you search and you ask AI, remember, Ramon, you were asking about searching AI
for
things, and when you ask AI, who is the most humble, small business MC speaker expert guy? It just pictures of Ramon.
Bing, 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 bing.
You clearly haven't been following him on Facebook.
Pierre, this is the point where you're wondering, why doesn't Brent rush in to save me? Where I've trolled so much and I'm being trolled back so much, Pierre. It's getting painful. I feel like Kevin Hart being trolled by like Ellen DeGeneres or somebody, one of those roasts. And Brent
not trolling.
Not letting the roasting go on.
I'm just doing the thing you drive me to do, because those of us who have known Ramon for a long time, we understand that he says things and then the response on your end has to be like the other thing. So it's just all by design.
Ivana, I like you. You're going to be to my next comedy special. We're going to sell it on Netflix. You and Shasha are going to be right in the front row, just roasting with me. We're going to make millions.
When was the first one?
Oh, it passed already. It was so big. In fact, it was so huge. Nobody knew about it. That's how big it was.
Yeah, that's big.
Yes.
Now, if we continue, this will become a show that Netflix will want to buy.
This has been the longest introduction for the show in history.
But finally, Ramon got
but the most fun. Yeah,
but it has been rather entertaining. So
thank you, Shasha. Y'all are amazing.
And next week we will be roasting Leland.
Ooh.
No, Leland's hard. He's not. No, he's so mild mannered. It's like roasting that person. You say, no, you're an idiot. Yeah, I know. What can you do with that? Nothing.
Wait a minute, Leland. If somebody said,
without being,
wait a minute, if Leland, if somebody said you're an idiot, you would just say I know and keep it moving, or
I'd probably ask for evidence because I do say things sometimes that aren't necessarily correct.
I'm saying ask for evidence. That's exactly what I mean. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Even though you can't roast somebody that says ask for evidence, like proof it. You can't. Okay.
Sorry.
it was fun while it lasted, folks. we do have some pressing issues to get into here. Like I was going to say every week for the last year and a half, but I did miss one. Sorry about that still. But it's been another week. Some things have happened. We had the State of the Union address where the current resident of Pennsylvania Avenue said, hey, I've defeated inflation. Affordability is at hand. That was Tuesday. All right, now it's Friday. And wholesale inflation numbers came out. Looks like we still got some fighting to do because they came out hotter than they were anticipated. I think they were expected to be an increase of a 0.6, an increase 0.8. Now annual inflation is at 2.9, which is a little higher than it was before the current resident took over. So inflation is still something that we're dealing with. Something else that we are dealing with is, I think, I shared it in our little group thing, but the company Block. Mm-hmm. Let's say Jack Dorsey. Everybody knows Jack Dorsey from Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah, and Medium. Or no, that was Ev Williams. What was this? What was the financial swipe thing he had?
Stripe.
Square.
I mean,
it was Square. Yeah, it was Square. So co-founder of Twitter, founder of Square. Now he has this fintech company called Block. And this is going to sound like, I don't know, maybe controversial, but today or yesterday, actually, he announced that his company is going to lay off 40% of their employee base. There are 10,000 employees currently. He's getting rid of 4,000. Here's why I'm going to at least, I don't know if congratulating is the right word, but at least give him credit. He came out, he didn't dance. He didn't try to make it sound like, oh, it wasn't. He came out and said, look, we are going to get ahead of this AI thing. So we're going to let people go because AI, we don't want to be the laggards in this. We want to be leaders in getting efficient. So he let 4,000 folks go because of what AI is going to do. Most people are still dancing around with that AI. Oh, we're going to still have the same number of people, but we're going to be using agents. So it's going to be hand in hand. He said, look, we have to do what we got to do because AI is coming. So I know I said a lot. I don't know if that factors at all into what you're going to say about how you feel now, but I thought I'd throw it out there. Who wants to go first? We all know it's you, Ramon. Just go ahead and do it, man.
No, really, I was humbly trying to wait for my other colleagues to go. Really, seriously, y'all.
Okay.
Anybody want to
go? Who do you nominate then?
Myself. Okay.
And I fell for that too. I
was waiting for others.
I fell for that one hard.
We appreciate the patience, Ramon. Go right ahead.
That was a beautiful setup, man.
I really was waiting for others. But it just came out because of the humble badge I have. Anyway, listen, let's get to the show. Brent Leary, thanks for being a great host, Small Biz Breakdown. We're all good to be here. Here's what I think. My week overall was good. I was in Romania with my client. It was good to be there. Money is flowing. Before that was at an event called Creative Con. Pierre was there. We're about 100 and some odd people, small business owners, the smallest of small business owners, and some even full-time jobs, some retired. So a mishmash of, not the true small business like Clayton Mask of Keep, formerly Infusionsoft used to say. So that's where I was. That was my week. But to touch on this aspect of Block, again, I'm not seeing the same thing, especially what you, Shashi, and Brent are seeing in the high enterprise. But my guess is I think it makes sense. You think about Square. I had my carpet cleaner come. He pulled out the little white dongle, tapped my credit card. The thing worked. I'm guessing back in the day, you needed people to watch and manage and see and customer support. But if you do AI well, notwithstanding, many of us do like the human experience. It's a transaction play. Something goes wrong. You see the anomaly. 90% of it's going to be usual. Oh, Ramon asked for a refund. This always happens. Refunded automatically. You know, like Amazon does. The chat bot says, your money's already on the way. The chat bot says, shirt is being returned. The chat bot says, here's your coupon. So again, who knows what the 10,000 level of employee companies are, but to me, it makes sense. If you're into AI and you have the right tools and services, you're using it, it seems like, yes, companies like Block can let go of a lot of people and AI can do it. I just hope, Brent, that something doesn't nefariously go wrong. You know, we hear in 2 years, 5 years, 47 million customers, their accounts were debited by accident because the bot went wrong. That's what I hope. My fear is something like that. If I may nominate, Pierre, jump in, brother. What do you think?
I think there's going to be a lot of these sort of stories where people are saying, hey, we think we can cut X amount of people for AI. The one that's most interesting is the IBM one, where now IBM is saying, hey, we need to walk back what we thought we could do. I think we're going to see more of that IBM style of response in the future. And some of it's a numbers play because everyone's trying to cut people and trying to say, hey, I want to have AI. It almost sounds like they want that to be the news. And if it's a publicly traded company, something that might goose their stock for a little bit. Which I think is a little, that sounds a little dark, but that's still, I think that may be underlying some of these choices. AI is a wonderful tool. Don't get me wrong. I've used it every day in my business. I see people using it in business all the time, and people increasingly trying to learn how to use it. But I think that learning part is the challenge. I think that a lot of times when you learn something, you still need to start off with the objective of what it is that you need to learn. If you learn statistics, you have a topic and general outline for your course. And I think for businesses, they see this AI as the subject, but they haven't really put together a real objective for themselves of what they want to do with it enough to really define it well. And I think they're not seeing that. I think they see the buzz and decide that we just need to we'll get this productivity increase. But they don't realize when you implement technology, there's always a curve. And you have to get past that curve of resistance to get things working well. And some people are not set up well for that, I think. So we may see more of that IBM type of response soon.
Who goes next?
I say Ivana.
How's my week been? I think, I have no shame. I am beyond embarrassment at this point. I'm going to say the first thing I experienced this week is whiplash. Okay. No sooner because I really am a firm stance for, oh my God, when I use the word humanity, I don't mean woo-woo stuff. Well, the human condition, right? The human condition. However, I did have whiplash because I have last week, AI tools were still very, very poor in general on judging, discerning, taste. Typically, can they program? Can they do code? Absolutely. But there's a measurement out there. I forget the name of it, but it actually measures how long it takes the AI before you need human intervention. So, for example, like last year, it was like 10 minutes, and now it could be like 8 hours or something. I don't know. The last measurement was something like 4 hours that came out just last month. But that was before Opus 4.6. Is that it? Drop, blah, blah, blah. So I've had this like huge feeling of whiplash because some of the AI people that I'm following who are very, very close to this epicenter are like these are developers who are freaking out because they cannot believe the time that it's taken to where they have to step in. And they are actually saying, wow, it's improving in judgment. So that led me to the next thing that I've been noticing in the AI content around this, which is assumptions. And I feel, I'm going to be very, very general here. I feel like the basic assumption that I'm thinking about that developer guy and these things that you guys are talking about, just the incredible AI writing itself and so on and so forth. It occurred to me that you need to have two resources in order to make this happen, right? One is, of course, money, and the second one is knowledge, right? Which brings us to the whole, how quickly is this actually going to get adopted by small businesses? Because that is my space. I'm not enterprise. I do not understand these things. All I can say is the best predictor of, like Dr. Phil says, the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And small businesses are notoriously slow at adopting new tech. Now, if slow meant 5 or 10 years a few years ago, it probably means like a year or two in modern language. So just so we're clear, it's going to be slower, but it's going to take some time. I am concerned for two things. I just don't think that we're practicing systems thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Really, like we have gotten so addicted to immediate gratification that we don't understand system thinking. So like it's been a while since anyone has done a SWOT analysis. I know that's old school, but I'm thinking to myself, okay, so let's like assume that our economic system and our government and these things are not going to change anytime soon, but like half the population is not working. And so I'm like, who is gonna be using these squares? And like money has to exchange. There has to be money. I keep asking the same question, who's gonna be the customer? And I don't think our brains are evolved enough. We can't even deal with multiple communication channels as it is. The technology is evolving faster than our brains and human things can handle. We're still behaving like cavemen. So I'm kind of wondering about how that's going to go. So I'll just shut up now. Oh, I need to tag someone. Shashi, go.
Before Shashi goes, I will overlook even as referencing Dr. Schill because that was a lot of good information.
Yeah, it was. I know. But that is a
Schill.
phrase. And for me to say that was my phrase. But you know what? That is in psychology, having had a lot of psych classes, being the marketing manipulator that I am.
Ooh.
That is a thing, right? The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, and that is just a generalization. And I wish I could take that, but I won't steal.
Marketing manipulator from Medina. Magical.
Oh my God, there's a
Magical Medina.
M's again. Those
Madam Mic Drop. Woo! That's a lot of M's, man.
That's true.
All right, Shashi.
All right, my take on this is like this is not a Chat GPT came and that's why Block did this. Machine learning and AI has been around for God knows 30, 40 years. Yeah. But Block is not saying like, hey, customers, you're all going to get a AI bot and we're going to stop service. I think one of the things that they'll absolutely protect is their core business, which is financial transactions, right? Now, they have internal tools that I'm sure they've been building for, say, 10 years. And this will be mostly back office. Like I was actually talking to another technology person. 10 years ago, you had no redundancy. Like you had to, if something went down, you had to physically go to the data center, pull out something, switch on and switch off. All those things have gone now, and literally you don't need somebody watching screens and telling you like where it's going to go down and things like that. So jobs where you were there only for like when something went wrong, companies are now making sure that those things don't go wrong by predicting, by kind of analyzing and doing it. So now the question is like, what happens to the redundant jobs? I think jobs have always been redundant. So whatever we had 20 years ago aren't there now. I think this won't affect small businesses as much. Unfortunately, Wall Street loves announcements like that. So the stock has gone up. For individuals, I think you have to keep thinking like, can I be replaced? And you can be replaced if your job is something that can be written on a piece of paper. 1, 2, 3, this is what you have to do. Ramon can be replaced because he's always thinking, changing his mind very often, which is basically what human beings do, right? Like human beings don't always work on a linear way. So that part of it, where a customer can call for whatever reason, that won't be replaced by AI. But if a customer wants a password reset, absolutely. So, but the scale of this is very concerning, right? Like, okay, when you lose 40%, you should have thought of this very well. The example of where it worked is probably Twitter, but Twitter isn't as important as Square is. Like Square is the payment system.
Yeah.
So it'll be a good case study. Hopefully, Jack is right, and not hopefully. I mean, nobody wants people to lose their jobs, but I'm talking about small businesses and transactions. Hopefully, none of that will be affected.
I think that leaves Leland from Oregon.
So when it comes to this whole AI thing and small business, it's like I'm in the bubble. I'm the kind of person that, like, even this week I'm searching for new ways to do AI generated images utilizing my own technology, self-hosted. That's how far into the bubble it is. I'm wanting to bring AI generated images to my computer so that I can have an automatic system with my server connecting, all those kinds of things. Now, the average small business is probably not going to be that thick into the AI infrastructure, just because they're not necessarily in an industry that could benefit greatly from AI. It's not going to reduce the amount of work by 50%, where some of these big businesses, where there's going to be a lot of white collar kind of jobs, and it's redundant work tasks, can be just offloaded to AI and be able to cut 50% of their or 30% of their workforce. When it comes to a small business, and I'm thinking kind of like service industry or repairmen or like people that have brick and mortar shops, you're still going to need employees. You're still going to need servers, cooks, your technicians, all those kinds of people. And that's where a lot of, work is going to be put into. But the real benefit for small business owners is going to be coming into utilizing AI, maybe not to save time, but to get more out of your time. And so utilizing AI to be able to bring up reports with more detailed information, to be able to make better decisions, or have AI monitor your inventory to be able to say, hey, you're running really low on this. You may need to reorder it, or even put it in the AI's hands and just have it automatically reorder it for you when you know that your inventory is running low. Those can be a lot of good time savers so that you are able to focus on the more important things. When it comes to like these financial things, the thing that I would love to see is more of a fraud protection kind of system in place utilizing AI. Customer comes in, they put down their credit card, and I've worked retail. There are some bad actors out there, just even in your everyday life, that are just going to put down a bad credit card, and then your business is on the hook for hundreds of dollars. I worked at a video game store in college, and one of my first transactions was one of those, and they bought like $300 worth of stuff, and I got called into the manager's office, and it wasn't nearly me that did it. It was the assistant manager. So I was okay. I was okay. I didn't get fired or anything like that. But I'd love to see that for a small business, to be able to not have to worry as much about fraudsters protecting their business. That's what I'd love to see. And I'd love to see small business owners work towards. It's like adopt where you can to be able to improve your business. Maybe not cut out half of your employees, but utilize your time for the best.
Good point by Doris. First of all, thank you, Doris, for joining us. I don't think we've seen Doris here before, so thanks for stopping in. Restaurants using robotic servers. Let me ask you guys this, because I don't think anybody mentioned the inflation stuff in your conversations. It was almost all about the AI stuff, which is interesting. What is actually more pressing on your business, and maybe on small businesses in general as you see it? The specter of inflation rearing its ugly head again, and seemingly not being able to control inflation like it seems like in the past. This thing has been very sticky. It doesn't seem to want to go down. And when we thought it was going down, this weird word came out of nowhere, tariffs. And all of a sudden we started seeing it go back up. Is that more of a concern, or is AI and where AI is right now more of a concern to you personally, and do you think in general to small businesses?
I'll jump in. I think that AI is more of a concern slightly, and here's why I say why. I think the economic pressures. I think business owners are aware of it, and they somewhat worry about it, but they also are optimistic to get through it. So it kind of doesn't hit the priority. Where business owners, I think, struggle is trying to think strategically about what is the thing that they need to be doing that will keep them sustaining for a while. And that's very hard to identify in general. I can tell you off the bat from an analytics perspective, when Google Analytics first came into play and then people started to add analytics to websites and everything else, sometimes it was a little difficult to have conversations with business owners because many of the taggings that you have to do ties into the strategy and what's the business objective you're trying to do and how it's expressed through a website and later on from apps and so forth. It took a while for that to gain traction. I think AI has the same sort of issue in the sense that people know now that they can type and Google certain things. And most people right now, a lot of people are producing content. And AI tools are way more than that. It's also about interacting and automating. To what Evelyn brought up earlier, you're automating different types of tools out there and devices. And so the question becomes, what should you be automating or considering automating that will give your customers some sort of satisfaction, that will give you a strategic advantage? And I think sometimes business owners are not always the most imaginative about how those pieces come together. That doesn't make you a bad business owner. It just means that you're always pressed for time for understanding information to imagine where you go and then actually applying it. So I'd say the AI a little bit.
Yeah, I think inflation hasn't come down, except the inflation according to economists and the inflation according to like the normal person is very different. You want to buy a car today, you have to spend 40,000-50,000. So what people are doing is they're doing like 60 to even 72-month loans. And these loans aren't cheap at all. Prices that have risen are not coming down. I think one of the things was, even though the Supreme Court ruled against the tariffs, like nobody's going to reduce the price there. So it's everybody's individual economy. The small businesses, I think, are focused more on how do the wages have risen, costs have risen, they still have to be profitable. So that's probably top of mind. I think they will look at anyone who says, hey, I can save your payroll by doing X, Y, and Z. I'm sure it's going to be a welcome suggestion for them. At Zoho Day, like Sridhar Vembu had a very good thing. He said the jobs where you're interacting with people, he used teachers, he used like where you're always face to face with people are not going to go away. AI is never going to replace them. I thought that was very profound. So if you look at it, like even though I think Doris said like restaurants are having robots, I still feel we will pay a premium for human beings to interact with us. And so inflation hasn't come down. The economist's definition may have been very different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we're going to see inflation decrease, and the reason why is, I mean, the core reason for a lot of the inflation over the last 6-7 years was the government dumped a lot of money into the economy. They did it to be able to stimulate it, but unfortunately there are unintended consequences, and there was a lot of money. It wasn't just like a couple of $1 billion. It was into the trillions, and that has real world consequences. And the only way to truly decrease inflation would be to actually take out that money out of the economy, and that's not something that's ever going to happen. Once it's in, and we got to deal with the consequences over the and it's not just it happens and then all of a sudden, you know, we feel the effects and then it's gone. Those effects continue to carry on, and it's going to have ripple effects over the course of years, and we are still feeling those. But the thing that we can do is to try to work on things that we can control. And I like that the gas prices are going down, unless you're in California. I feel sorry for this. I'm in Oregon and it is still pretty high. We're in the $4 range, and it's pretty bad here. But doing stuff like that to be able to make costs go down in certain areas can help affect other areas, and be able to reduce, you know, food transportation, which then reduces the amount of money that a restaurant needs to be able to pay to be able to buy the food. Hopefully we can level it out, and after 10 years, things, you know, maybe go back to normal a little bit, but inflation is going to be an issue. I don't think at this moment is that much of an issue. I do think that AI does beat out inflation, because while inflation is, yes, up, it's not where it was, and it's not the biggest effect, I think, to the small business owner. When you have all these big companies running around and they're spending billions of dollars, that could ultimately affect a small business, in that all of a sudden maybe their company that they've been using for decades is now just gone because they invested everything into AI, and now it's all AI, or they've gone bankrupt, and I don't know.
By the way, just a quick shout out and hello to Patricia Freudenberg. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't think we've seen you here before, but thanks for showing up, and thanks for the great comments that you're pouring in there. These are, I like this one though. I like AI gives people options to evolve.
Yeah.
I think that's really key. I don't know how well we're taking advantage of it, but I think the people who do use it to evolve are the ones that are going to win in the end.
And Brent, just to tell you, Patty, because she's from my tribe, not Shashi's, but Patty is a grief expert and helps people with their grief and losses. And she has an app that she's built, which helps people do that. So Patty from New York, as she says, good to have you here, Patty, on the Small Business Breakdown. So that's who Patty is. Also,
shout out to Roy Finnicle. I hope I'm probably not saying your name right, but Roy, I don't think we've seen you here either before. So thank you for joining us and for adding to the conversation as well. Ibn, what about it? What's more important to you personally and overall, do you think, to the small business world? Inflation getting lowered, or AI is a more pressing thing to deal with?
I don't think AI is more important. At the same time, I don't think inflation is the right conversation, because we all know that deflation is like not a good thing. So I think we get into, we are collapsing inflation with affordability, and it's like not the same thing, right? And personally, I don't think the inflation rate is like that bad. But at the same time, what we're dealing with is that there's a disconnect between pricing and value, because what we have is pricing basically run amok. And the reason it's run amok is because, I mean, all these industries have consolidated. Our media has consolidated to what, 2 or 3 companies? Our food has consolidated to a handful of companies. I mean, like, I don't even know. I mean, it's like at every level there is consolidation. What do we have when we have consolidation? You have a reduction in competition. So if we don't have competition, it's almost like they can't help but collude. I mean, it's like if you consolidate everything that touches our lives to less than 10 organizations, or it's probably not less than 10, I don't know, but like it's probably like 20 or something. But even so, this is like, you can't help but collude, because value equals the price people are willing to pay. And if you increase the price of milk to $7 to a half gallon, and you're buying milk so that you can cook or feed a child or like whatever, you're going to be buying that milk. You're going to buy that milk at $10 a gallon, right? So I just like think it's the wrong conversation. It's an affordability conversation, and the affordability is tied to high prices, and the high prices aren't happening because we're getting any kind of value. The high prices are happening because they can. And I think corporations have, I remember I said in the chat, I cannot even believe that my little fingers typed out the word that made it seem when I read my own sentence that I don't like profits. I love profits. Profits are awesome. Profits are important, but profits are the reward for delivering value and not just increasing prices because you can.
Anybody else? Interesting. What about the news of the day? Or I guess, yeah, it was earlier today. And this is going to go right to Evana, I think, because you're the one who's always asking, where are the people going to buy this stuff? As Amazon is one of a handful of companies that just invested 110 billion in OpenAI, Amazon full 50 billion of that 110 billion. Gives you that circular feeling, doesn't it, Eva?
I don't know. I learned decades ago, I used to say, how stupid must I be? Like during the .com bubble, like how stupid must I be? Clearly these people know something I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, we trade money for value. And I don't think AI is going away. I think the investment is awesome. All the stuff we've talked about before. I just like if everyone's, let's imagine, I wish I could show this. I'm going to show this, right? I'm going to show you the hockey stick. This is how I get hired into corporations. They hire me when the line is like kind of just doing this little ziggy zaggy and then it suddenly goes up. And I'm like, what happened here?
The hockey stick.
The hockey stick, right? Because the system you run generates like within a certain range, right? So when you suddenly go beyond that range and you're like, things go like that, whatever that may be, could be AI usage, could be like whatever. You are now bursting like past the fences of your system, right? So I'm like, what happened here? And they're like, well, we bought, we did all this stuff. We bought companies, we launched new products. I'm like, you understand? I'm like, so what are you going to change to make this thing happen? They're like, nothing. We're going to do more marketing. We're going to buy more machines. I'm like, your system does not make this. It hasn't made it for 20 years. It ain't just suddenly going to make it in 6 months. So I think we're butting up against the requirement for a massive systemic change. I just think it's all backwards. Where's John? I need John.
Said no one ever.
Right? No, seriously, think about it. We live in a triangle world, right? At the top are all the people in power, right? And at the bottom are like all the resources and the people that create the people in power. This is like the world we live in. It's what we created, right? And people fight and they climb and they do bad things. It looks like a pyramid. Hence it's a pyramid scheme. We extract value and all the value comes up here. This is unsustainable. It's unsustainable because it's never sustainable because by definition, pyramid schemes are not sustainable. We need to be in a circle world.
Can I disagree a bit?
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's been like that since the beginning. I mean, we're talking about go back to the 1800s. Go back to the Vanderbilts and the Carnegies.
That is not the beginning. That is not.
Well, I mean, it's not. But when you talk about America and the uprise, the individual being able to own all the means of production and the wealth.
Empires,
that kind of stuff.
All empires and civilization, or not all civilizations, but many empires function in a triangle. That's how we created them, right?
Yeah.
But for millions of years, we had a circle. We had circles.
But even was it really a circle? Even what about do you consider the kings and the fiefdoms and all
Yeah.
that?
That's a triangle. That's
Yeah.
everything. Cavemen were a circle. Our Native American tribes were kind of like, you had a certain goal in the middle, and then the community worked together. And all I'm saying is I'm not saying one's good or bad. I did kind of say this was bad. I'm just saying it's unsustainable.
Actually, we much rather have the current system where Ivana, you could have been on the top of the triangle than Queen Ivana, right? But let me just say, you also have a very good point. I'll tell you why. When Google first became public, I didn't invest. And the reason I didn't invest was I'm looking at the hospital and looking at GE equipment, X-rays and everything. I'm saying these are the companies that we really need. Who cares about search? I was wrong, right? GE went almost bankrupt, and look where Alphabet is. So that tells me the real power for economies is in the stock market, which is actually unfortunate, right?
Yeah.
If that wasn't the barometer, I think a lot of people will agree that, hey, the stock market is great because one day I'm going to have a startup. Ramon is going to be my partner and we're going to be a $50 billion company like Amazon. We'll write a check and buy 10 companies. Everybody has the dream and aspiration, and that's what is running the economy. Now, unfortunately, the reality is when you start paying mortgage, car loans, and everything else, you're wondering, when will my dream come true? Right?
Yeah, it's the scale. That's the biggest problem, is the scaling of everything. It's to the point where my thing that is with cars, for example, there is no reason why we should be sitting with a $45,000 average for a new car. What that does financially is that you now have customers who have to shell out thousands of dollars for a down payment. They get a car, and then now they have a payment which is effectively close to $700 or more. There's actually stats
800.
about $1,000. It's the scale of everything that's hurting everybody. That's the problem. That's why we have a K economy right now.
Yeah, but Pierre, people don't have to. I mean, I don't know what the cost of a brand new car is. I've never bought one, but I mean, aren't there plenty of used cars at miles on? That's when I just heard you say people have to. I get the point, but and that's a side.
Yeah, but the used cars are more expensive than they should be.
Fair enough. Let's get away from the $45,000 car. I don't think everybody has to have a 40. You can buy my small little CRV was 20-something thousand on Carvana. I get your point, but go back to even this point about pyramids. I hear you, even, and I got it. Please stay off mic, even, because I want to learn more about this. But I guess for me, I mean, the circle sounds nice, but in a way, I just came from JW Marriott. I think one of the pillars is banks, right? The JW Marriott brothers or father and son, whoever they were, get out a loan, take risk. We all know the story. Even you know this as well as I do, Leland. We all know this. Get out a loan, take risk. 80% could fail, 70% could fail, whatever. These two guys or two girls, the Spanx lady, take your pick. It works. She sells it to millions of people. She then hires middle-class people to do the work and maybe pay them well or not. And the world goes on. So that's kind of a circle-ish. I get your point, Ivana, but I don't know. I just, and maybe it's my firm belief in capitalism, whatever, my narrow view of the Western world, it could be. But that's just a thought.
You brought up Marriott. One interesting story here is there are companies that have managed to maintain their values, retain it. I actually talked about Mars and also in a way Zoho, where despite scaling, they are able to retain it. Marriott used to do that for some time, but now they've become totally stock market focused. And so you don't really feel the same thing that used to be there before. You call customer service, one of the best customer service used to be Marriott, not anymore.
I just been using them. They're here. They had a great building in Romania where I was at. That's all I meant. I would just use them as a case study. They're there. The aspect of the pyramid.
They're great hotels. I agree. Yep.
That's what I meant. People got a loan. That's the power. People get a loan. Most people fail at it. The few that succeed become the next big companies. They sell it. Hopefully they do well, and they last for 50 years or 100 years until they collapse, or they don't, and they go away like the sock puppet or sock puppy. But Leland, you were jumping in, or even you were responding, but Leland or even whoever.
I was just going to say, yeah, the circle theory can work, but usually with smaller systems. You got, I would say, like the Amish is a very good example of that kind of circular community. You still have someone who's in charge. I guess maybe the person in the middle of the circle kind of directing where everyone goes, but it kind of becomes untenable when it gets to a bit of a larger system, and you need to be able to have the big leader and then the smaller leaders telling the people down below to be able to direct where resources go. It's either that, or when the circle gets too huge, the left side of the circle doesn't know what the right side of the circle is doing, and then they're going in opposite directions, and then you got an oval, and then it just bursts.
Okay, I like that
I
he's
love
at an oval.
I love that. I just want to make sure that maybe I wasn't clear. I think what's been making me nuts, what's inside the circle is something that we preach to all businesses everywhere, and it's business, and we extol businesses who actually run a circle theory because what's in the middle of the circle is fulfilling an unmet need, a goal, a mission, a vision. So those companies, whether it's Airbnb or the Spanx lady or whoever, what makes those companies, Southwest for the longest time, Southwest Circle, inside Southwest Circle, Southwest is such a great example, right? The old Southwest, the original Southwest. Inside the circle was the foundational belief that everyone should be able to fly. Before Southwest, flying was for certain people, and it looked a certain way. Southwest literally adopted a bus route strategy. But back to the circle. If everyone should be able to fly, if that is the core of your business, that drove their operations. So operations had to be set up in a way so that everyone could be able to fly, which is why they had the 3-minute turnaround, which is why suddenly people and the CEO at Christmas time are out there handling luggage. Why? Because we got to have this turnaround. Because if we have this turnaround, it replaces 3 airplanes. In the circle is the goal and the vision for your business that makes you unique, that fulfills an unmet need, that provides incredible value to your customers. So I don't know when in my 40-some years since graduating with a business and marketing degree at the time of Reagan, for whom I was a huge fan, profit somehow shifted away from the customer experience, because that is the reason for all these things.
Exactly.
So like, please don't misunderstand me. I am like all for profit, but the whole point of profit, like we were taught, like you want to reinvest in your business, you want to upgrade your equipment, you want to pay your people more. The tax structure for corporations was such that, not to sound like an MBA course here, was such that you were incentivized to improve your business and your employees' lives, and hence buying back stock was illegal because it falsely increases your stock price and no longer reflects value.
Hey, Ivana, you said you wish John Lawson were here, Ivana. Did you just say that, right?
I did.
John, say hi to Ivana.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. Did you hear me say I missed you? Because I'm just being you right now.
John Lawson is here, and Ivana has talked about the circle versus the triangle, John. We don't have to rehash it. I just thought everybody, well, most of us, John, most of us on this would love to hear your voice. So, John, just say what's up to the people, then we'll let you go back do what you're doing.
Please,
I wish John was here, and I'm like, you know what? Let me call his brother and see maybe he can just say hello and give us.
Oh, that's awesome. Miss you guys. Wish y'all were there.
No, that's all right.
Soon, except Brent.
Yeah.
Miss you, John.
It was going so well. Yeah.
Stop it.
You're awesome, John.
It's a mix of love and less love. Okay.
No, take your time, do what you need to do, stay away, get better, stay far away.
Back to us. We miss you.
Yeah, awesome.
We did this shoot. So even it was like she was talking about that. We don't have to rehash it, but she was talking about the economy being a triangle versus a circle, blah 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 blah. And she was like, "John is here. He'll understand me. He'll know what I'm saying." And all of us were kind of giving her some grief for it. But she was like, "Where's John?" Anyway, John, I love you, brother.
Thank you.
Good health and thanks for joining me to have some fun today, man. Welcome. Thank you.
Later, folks.
Later. Bye-bye.
Much later. Much later.
Even I did that for you.
Oh, I miss John.
I know you didn't do it for me. So
No. I would have called my boy. I would have called Jared Kushner. That's what I would call for you.
no, that's quite all right. All right, so we're getting close to the end here. Thank God. What's going on here? So another thing that came up, and maybe we can do a quick round around this because it's about the kind of the role that government is playing in this AI stuff. I think you all are kind of familiar, at least to a certain extent, about what's going on with Anthropic and basically peak headsets at the Department of. I'm staying Department of Defense. I'm not doing the war thing. About basically, he is threatening Anthropic to let them use their AI technology for something that has never been used or asked to be used for before. And he's threatening if they don't give it to him to use it in that way, he's threatening to put them on a list that's usually a list of foreign actors. But he wants to basically blackmail them into giving them access for this technology to use it in a way that it really wasn't supposed to be used. What role should government have in where the direction of AI goes? Regulations or basically using blackmail tactics?
I don't think it's good. I slant to be conservative in this group, whatever that may mean. But yeah, I think it's. I would veer on the side of companies are companies, cajole them as you can, do some dangle something. Every party does, I'm sure, some dangling, but I think it's a bit much to say we're going to blacklist you and call you, because that's a black mark, right? Saying whatever you just said, Brent, that's like and for some regulations, that's a death knell. Like you get on that means you can't work with a bank, you can't work with anybody, even though they know it's politically motivated. So yeah, my vote, I don't like that, but I'll tag whoever else wants to jump in. Anybody disagree with me, especially.
I agree with Ramon that it's bad, but it also speaks to something that's majorly wrong with this country and the fact that we don't really have a national data privacy policy in place. We have it for states. We have a
state level.
Yeah, and as far as AI, we just have Trump's executive order, but we don't have something cohesive, which is a problem if you're trying to win a race for development, if you're trying to encourage investment, and Trump has done that to some extent. I'll give him that to a small degree, but he's not a big picture person, and his administration doesn't reflect that. And these choices of kind of, allowing people to come to head, the Department of War and threaten a company, to be blacklisted it's a level of thinking that as far as they're willing to go. So I agree with Ramon. There really should not be a blacklisting here. There really needs to be a clear vision with policy to it that people can actually plan investment rather than doing something at the whim of somebody that just because they didn't like your business.
But to be clear, Pierre, I would say, and I would like to know what you think on this, Pierre. Sorry, I know time is short, but let me just jump in here. Pierre, just to get how far you're going. Do you agree that it's okay for government so to use a little bit of carrot and stick? What that may be, we don't know, but play a little bit of hardball. We're not going to give you a contract to do the F-16 fight or whatever. Is that cool? Would you say there should be nothing? Because I think government should be allowed to do a little something, whatever that may be. I don't know legally. Would you?
I think that something has to be more planned out now, particularly when we have companies where people can reach and do more damage with media. I think that's the challenge right now that we're facing.
Okay, Shashi, yeah.
The investment in innovation, I think the US has gone backwards, because if you think about the internet, if you think about the GPS, all of these came out of like DARPA, right? And then we gave the world that. Now that has changed and the government is not investing, or maybe they are investing and we don't know about it, that they have to go and seek private players. And some of these private players actually started off with some government funding, right? So I think the mistake is there, that the government has to tell a private company that we need what you need to do. Where I would draw the line is, this is going to save lives, so you need to give us the technology, versus this is going to take lives, and that's where I think I would draw the line, simply because I think during the pandemic, I think we invested so much money in vaccination research very quickly, and it saved a lot of millions of lives, right? So two things: invest more in research so you don't have to depend on private players, and to have some rules around what you can force a company to do or not.
Even though you're thinking, what are you thinking?
I'm going to be the thorn. I'm asking myself the question, because this is a supplier, a vendor, and a customer, right? And then we go back and I say, who is the government's customer? Like, who do you guys think the government's customer is?
Supposed to be the citizens, but
stop playing games. You're going to say us, even. I know. Go ahead.
Well, I am asking, it's supposed to be us, but I don't know, right? Who does Anthropic work for? Who is their customer? I'm asking. I'm just like,
their customers and their shareholders or their
right.
investors.
So one would think, right? If you have the same customer base, which is why I don't think they're working. I don't know. You asked me what I thought. I'm asking. Those are the questions I'm asking myself. Who is the government's customer? Who does the government work for? Who is their customer? And who does Anthropic work for? Do they have shareholders? Do they have whatever?
They have investors, yeah.
Investors, right? So not us and not our safety. Investors. Can we be clear? This makes me nuts. Who does the government work for? Donors? Is it donors?
It must be citizens, but
No, that's what it says.
No.
Their actions. Who?
Oh, their actions.
They're duh. Every company, you like. I mean, I don't know. Seriously, we are deluding ourselves.
Is it okay for the government to cudgel? Is that the word, or whatever? Bully a company to do its will. Is that okay or
blackmail?
Whether I think it's okay, whether any of us think it's okay or not okay, is beside the point. The answer is, who does the government work for? Where does their money come from? Their money comes from donors.
No,
so the donors, because customer satisfaction says that if I want my customer to be satisfied, I'm going to do what they want.
When you say the government's money comes from donors, don't you mean taxes from citizens?
Does it matter, really?
It does. It's not donors. I didn't donate. It's not donors. That's
I don't know if you all heard, OpenAI is going to step into the gap, and that's
are they? Because I heard Anthropic said they're not doing it.
Right? The CEO said no. He said
he turned it down, and I give that guy credit. I mean, he kind of stuck to his gun. We'll see how long, because you never know. You get the screws put to you long enough, things happen.
I mean, you think about it, right? That's my point. Is I think it's bad now. Imagine the government, and it's mainly President Trump. And by the way, Brent, you've never said President Trump. You use the current occupant, all that nonsense. Stop playing that game, Brent. That's ridiculous. But
doesn't he live there?
It knows that, but I think it's
facts. Okay, can I just call him Resident Trump because it rhymes with that?
Resident's not bad. That's close to president. But the point I'm making is that I do think it's wrong. Imagine if what Trump is saying people have done to him. Imagine now he's saying banks. Any bank cannot work with Anthropic or your security threat. That's where I think this kind of thing could go, and none of us want that. That's just bad. That's not. Yeah. No, you don't want that. I get.
I mean, I agree, because that's what I put in the chat. I'm like, I'm sorry. Is Anthropic a private organization or not?
It's a private company.
Oh my God.
It sets a bad precedent. Ramon's right.
Well, it also goes back to, remember, investing, putting money into Intel and taking a stake in that, which we didn't see that happen outside of things like the bailouts. And even the bailouts, it was a loan. It was never a stake in the company. There seems to be a line that's definitely been crossed with some of the latest activities around AI. And I was just curious to see where you guys stand on that. But we are at the top of the hour. We even lost Shashi. Man. So parting shots. Who wants to take their first part? Maybe you shouldn't say shots. Parting thoughts.
I guess I'll say, going off of it, it is, yeah, bad. The government's done this multiple times within the past. I know that the social media companies in the past have been hit by the government and saying, no, you got to do this. So, it's the government doing the government. It's not bad. It is bad. Sorry. Not that it's not bad. It's bad any way that it's done. I'm just kind of curious why Anthropic is not like, let's come to the deal table. I want to make some money off of this.
Yeah, remember NVIDIA did that when they were the whole idea you can't sell to China. Didn't NVIDIA go to the White House? Well, I shouldn't say NVIDIA, but Jensen Huang go, and they were good. It's just interesting to see if this is something they're gonna stand on the hill, or are they going to, get on bended knee at some point.
But going to the White House, Brent, going to China, selling to China, Brent, I think it sounds to me politically different than using our technology for autonomous warfare and citizens. Yeah. I think those are, you can stomach it a bit more. If I was a progressive person, one of those people, like if I was a progressive person, just messing with you, I can stomach more selling to China. Can I sell to it with guardrails? They need technology for their rice farms, whatever. That I could see nuanced. But a proper company that has those convictions, using it to spy on citizens, I'll say it in the words of what that side of the question.
That's a whole other level.
Yeah, I think it's hard. There's no way you can get around it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So,
even any mic drop wisdom today?
I think I was a little overly enthusiastic today.
No.
But
Loved it.
Definitely. But I mean, really a stand and a commitment for taking a step back and thinking things through, right? Like, think about the systems, think about every choice. And this is going to be so much more valuable as AI comes more online. My whole point is, whether it's AI or whether what's going on in your marketplace or with the government or in the world, look at that Anthropic guy. He was very, very clear about what he's committed to. So my parting thought is, when in doubt, ask yourself, who are you being? What are you committed to? And what can people count on you for? That's going to be your brand statement. Stand behind that. It seems like the Anthropic guy was pretty clear about that.
Yep. Mic drop.
That was good.
Who could follow up on that?
Ramon's like, I want to follow up on that.
No, I don't want to follow up.
I know he can, because we count on the dulcet tones of Ramon Ray to take it.
We're back to the dulcet tones. Yes.
But Brent, you're a good host. Thanks for having us here. It was good to be hanging with you all. So appreciate the time.
All right. Everybody have a great weekend. We will see you next Friday, because guess what? There's going to be other things to talk about. We always know there's something new every week.
March Madness.
Yeah, March. That's right. Oh my God, this is the last Friday in February. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. This year is moving fast. We got to keep up. Anyway, we will see you next week.